we are inside the cab of our 2021 RAV4. So first and foremost, let's go over the tools you're likely going to need to remove this. I've never done this before. Saw some videos, think I have a good idea of how to remove the OEM radio. So first and foremost, you're going to need a socket wrench with a 10mm socket on the end. I've got a deep socket here. The other thing I have is an extension, just in case. I believe we have to go down and remove 4 bolts behind the radio. So I brought the extension just in case, might not need it, but always be careful because as you're swinging this thing around, you do not want to tap the windshield. So just be cautious of that. The other thing we're gonna need is a couple different plastic removal tools. So I've got this big fat one here. I bought a kit on Amazon a couple of years ago, maybe it was 15 bucks. And it came with a variety of different sizes and shapes. This one is pretty good for getting in and wedging larger plastic panels out. You don't want to get in there with a flathead screwdriver because you're going to start marring up the plastic. So these plastic din removal tools are really good, or panel removal tools. So I've got this one, this old blue one I got from, I don't know, AutoZone maybe. And then this one came with another Desacia radio. So I believe with the combination of all 3 of these rainbow colored panel removal tools, should be able to get that thing off. All right, so this is a bit of a weird angle, but if you can see behind here, there's this plastic panel we're going to remove. And once we remove that, I believe there's 4 bolts behind there. And then once we remove those 4 bolts, this whole head unit should be able to pop out. So let's get started. Okay, it's kind of hard to film back here, but we removed that plastic panel off. It's sitting right here. As you can see, it's held together with some retaining clips. Nothing special, but you should feel comfortable popping that off. But you can see that if I was to get back here with like a flathead screwdriver, I could mar up a lot of that actual dash right there. So that's where those plastic din removal tools come in really handy. All right, now that we have the back panel removed, what we need to now focus our attention on is these 2 10mm bolts on the left side, and then there's going to be 2 10mm on the right side. Really tight angle here between the windshield and the glass to film, so I'll do my best to film it. But know that those 4 bolts are the ones that have to come out, and to the best of my knowledge, that radio should be able to pop right out. Yep, it's going to be impossible to film this. I am not a great cinematographer, if you couldn't tell already. So just know that I'm going to be focused on removing these 2 and then these 2 over here. So stay tuned. All right, not overly hard to remove. In fact, they were super light, not threaded in too tight. And what I would say is, because it's such a tight angle in there, just be careful. I don't know how far these things could drop down behind the crevasse that is behind this radio, but it's a tight squeeze. I don't have the biggest hands in the world, but I had a little bit of trouble pulling the 2 bolts on the back sides, not the ones on the front side. They were easily accessible, but I mean, I think 45 seconds in and I got all 4 out, so we should be able to do it. All right, I think at this point we should just be able to pop this thing off, unhook all the harnesses, and get ourselves ready to get the radio in. So let's give it a shot. Okay, much easier than I thought it was going to be. But as you can see, you kind of just pop that out. Let me go ahead and get these clips out, and then we should be able to get started on adding the radio back in. As you can see, all these wires and stuff like that are plugged into the back of the radio. Should be fairly straightforward to pop those out and get the radio in, the new one. All right, pretty straightforward. All unplugged. We'll likely use a lot of these harnesses with the new radio. All right, we're back in the car, so let's start connecting all of these wires in this rat nest into the head unit. So probably should be a little bit smarter and put a towel or some foam here. I don't have anything on hand, but I have my daughter's portable diaper changing bag, so I'm going to set that up right there. And we have not used it yet. There's no messes in there in terms of a diaper, so we should be good to go. Okay, so first I'm going to install what I believe is the USB connection. So remember earlier we made that connection with the USB. What I believe this allows you to do is maintain the actual USB that's underneath down here. Can't really see it, but in the actual center console itself. So if you still wanted to plug into USB, you could do that. So we will make that connection first. And as you can see, things are pretty straightforward. It's like I said many times before, everything here is plug and play. So we're going to continue to plug and play along. So I'm going to put the head unit there. I have left the plastic screen on the radio to protect the actual screen until we finalize this installation. But again, as I've said many times before, now we're just looking for like connections. So found a like connection here. Oops, upside down. Sorry, not the right connection. There it is. Plug it in. And again, as you go through, you're really just looking for things that look similar and things that fit. So I'm just hammering along here, taking my good old time. And really, if you can see, you know, we've got some grooves and stuff in here. You can actually count the pins. This one has 8 pins. There's 2 grooves here. You can find something similar to opening, like kind of female receiving connections here. I'm sorry, retaining clip connections there with the actual pins. So let's go ahead and plug that in. Am I doing it the right way? Is it the right one? I believe it is. Might not be. But again, this is all kind of trial and error. What you want to make sure you don't do, though, is force these things in and potentially break something. So I'm going to take my time, make sure that is the right one. That looks like it is. So we will plug that in as well. Got one over here. We'll make those connections. And again, you're just kind of looking like for like, not forcing anything in. Don't want to break any of the actual connections, bend any of the pins or anything like that. And I'm looking to see if we have anything else outstanding over here. Doesn't look like it. Again, don't panic if you're not using all the existing plugs that were in there before, like these two. I don't see any type of connection that makes a whole lot of sense for it to connect into. So we're going to nix that one. Let's see, do we have anything for this one? We do not. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe that's all we have is 5 connections. So in a 2021 RAV4 hybrid, it looks like these 3 are the ones that are going to be remaining unplugged. All right, now that I have everything plugged in, before I go ahead and bolt everything up and tidy everything up, let's give it a test drive. Not really a test drive, but a test run to make sure everything connects, or was connected. We got power, that's cool. So I still do have the screen protector on. I'm gonna leave it on for a little bit, just in case I want to take this back out and kind of maneuver it a little bit, but it's got the CarPlay. So that was pretty much it. You do have to make that initial connection. You find it on your Bluetooth, and if you go into your settings, you look at Bluetooth, it'll show you that you have a new radio connection. Once you connect to it, you allow the CarPlay to operate on your phone, and that's it. You're good to go. If you're at the Apple CarPlay home screen and you want to go back to the native UI, one of the other great features about this radio is that in that harness, it includes a device, I guess you could call it, that allows you to maintain the steering wheel controls on the radio. So volume up, volume down, skipping tracks. If you want to skip a track, it allows you to skip tracks, which is pretty cool. And yeah, pretty awesome that you can maintain the steering wheel controls. All right, guys, well, that just about does it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward in terms of the installation. You know, getting into all the settings, I mean, you can spend hours in your car just kind of playing around with all the different settings, downloading different apps, connecting to the internet, downloading YouTube, all that good stuff. But this is pretty damn awesome. If you have a 2019 to 2022 4Runner RAV4, I highly suggest you make this upgrade just because it's so clean looking. When the radio first came in, all I could think was like, well, this thing is significantly wider. How the hell is this going to fit? Like, you know, you've got the vents and stuff here. How's that all going to work? I don't really get it. But I get it now because it looks so damn good. It fits. It looks like this was just the way the car came. And there's really no branding on it. This is a Roadanvi radio sold by 𝐁𝐥𝐚𝐲, but there's no branding on it, so it looks like the car came this way. But really impressed with it. If you've made this upgrade, you know, definitely enter your comments in the comment section below. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are, what your experience has been. But easy installation, fun UI. Apple CarPlay is awesome, and that's just kind of what I'm sticking with. I'll modify this screen to my likings, and then my wife will change it because she'll want to modify it to her likings. But make sure to like this video, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Thanks.